Finally, I get to talk about Disco Elysium.
Tell us all about it.
Oh, you don't want that. That's gonna be a long time.
Okay, well, tell us the good stuff.
I'll tell you regular about it.
Okay.
It is a video game. It's a role-playing game, and it's very unconventional. I would put it in the realm of a Planescape Torment, although we don't want to talk about that because of Chris Avallone.
I have no idea what that is.
His little fingers.
Oh boy.
That should be programming. But we talked about that last week. So
yeah, okay, I know who you're talking about now. Sorry.
All right.
Just didn't remember his name.
I don't want to waste this on you.
Hey!
Am I going to waste this on you?
No, please share.
Go do something else. And audience, it's just us now. Disco Elysium is a role-playing game. It is based on its own system, which is called the something system. I can't remember what the system's called because they always give them dumb names. But it's like it's different than what you'd expect. It is trying to evoke games like Planescape Torment, but it is not. It's more of a thinking and really a role-playing game than it is a hack/shoot type thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Quick plot synopsis. It's an Estonian game, I'll say. It's a company called ZAUM. I don't know what that stands for. They're very mysterious.
Okay.
But anyway, you are a cop, and you wake up in a hotel room that's trashed, and you have no memory. Although it's pretty clear that you were having a good time, and you did something.
Okay.
But I mean, how you lost your memory of everything, like a player who is starting a role-playing game for the first time, you don't know. But there's a lot of pressure on you because it becomes clear that you are in this city that you're in to solve a murder, and you are not getting into that. Like, you don't know who you are, and you've got a murder to solve.
Right.
And as it goes through, that's the underlying sort of plot, I guess, to it, the objective. But it is a game that, in its nameless system, supports this. It is a game that is very much about you creating your character and sort of defining your relationship to the world through the decisions that you make. Mm. And this is the one part that's very similar to Planescape. In most successful PC RPGs, your Icewind Dales or your Neverwinter Nights or what have you, you create a character, you can make choices to be good or evil, but you are going to serve the role of the story that they've made.
Right.
And it's generally, with Obsidian or whoever's making them, you are a, chosen one type character.
Okay, right.
We've had plenty of those.
Yes.
In this case, you're nobody. And the game reminds you of that continually. And the game is very much about sort of representing philosophies, political philosophies, personal philosophies, social theory, but with praxis. It's all about what you do, your choices. So instead of just writing a bio for yourself that's like, I love bunnies, but I kick dogs or something like that. Mm-hmm. If you're in the game and you pet a bunny and you kick a dog, the game's like, you're a dog hater, aren't you? That's what it is, yeah. Screw these dogs. They can run the place or whatever. And then you can basically opt in to being dog hater, and that will give you benefits or detractions, based on what you do. And it's to the point where it's even where you're the 99% of the game is you interacting with a bunch of people who are not interested really in interacting with you. And so the way that you react to them defines who you are.
Sure.
And so coming in, I knew that I would be, I knew that I wanted to play it like, and the game already sort of maybe suggests this or kind of knows at least where I was going in that it's called Disco Elysium. So I'm going to be like, I'm a cool, 70s. I'm one of the guys from the Beastie Boys Sabotage video cop, and I'm coming in here and it's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm a loose cannon.
Right.
And I tried to play like that, but also I am a real cuck when it comes to role-playing games. I always play the good side. I'm always trying to help every single little person. And I'm always trying to smooth things over, and everybody is angry in this game, and everybody has something that they want to do to you or whatever. And so I found myself apologizing a lot because, especially the game, puts you, the game goes in real time, not exact real time, but slow minutes and hours that
have a day lasts a long time.
Yeah, and things that you do. have to be done at a certain time. Like the longer you put things off or things like that can affect the game as well.
That makes sense.
So I was going through and I'm like, everybody's mad at you because you went on this huge bender the night before. So I found myself doing a lot of apologizing just to smooth things over. Mm-hmm. Then I got to a point where, I forgot to mention, your character is like totally insane and it talks to himself and he's got all these voices that like tell him what to do or like criticize him. I mean, it could just be an inner dialogue or an inner monologue, I suppose.
Sure.
I think dialogue was right. But they're aggressive. And so I was apologizing to everybody. And as I walked away from this last conversation, my mind's like, boy, you sure apologize a lot. You're a little bitch, aren't you? You love to apologize. You're a sorry cop. And I'm like, no, I'm not a sorry cop. And before you get all these labels, it gives you a chance to kind of opt out of these labels. And so I was like, no, I'm going to take this as like a ludonarrative consonance instead of dissonance and say this is the wake-up call to myself that I am not going to apologize to everybody in this game. I'm supposed to be disco cop.
Right.
And so I said, no. And then I'm sure the next interaction, like I found myself on the back foot because I wasn't, doing what I should have done.
Right. Yeah, right.
There's weird attributes. You only get 4 attributes.
Okay.
Like your mental, your physical, your quickness, and your talkiness. And I decided to have no physical really at all because I'm a detective. I'm going to have observation and I'm going to talk to people and sort of, get the information out of them.
Sure.
But there's harmful sensation in the game. Like there's some memory that you're repressing and you can interact with things that will physically damage you due to, stress and stuff. So every time I interact with one of those things, I only have 1 hit point. So I immediately begin to literally die when I see these things.
Wow.
And so you have to like scarf down a first aid pill or something like that.
Is that something that the game gives you any hint of before you pick your attribute points, or do you just you don't know how important?
No, there's 4 attributes and then there's like 7 or 8 skills for each attribute, but just for fun they're sort of swapped around. So you'd think that all the talking skills, arguing with somebody with logic or threatening them, influencing them, would all be under social skill, how you relate to people.
Yeah,
but they're not. So for some reason, like logic is under like physical or something.
You're kidding me.
I think it's under intellect, but there's something. So I thought that I would be able to do all these things, but some of them are under physical. I also had to dump intellect a little bit because they do not give you a lot of points. Like I think the point is kind of that you're not a Superman,
right?
And so I found myself unable to take the tack that I wanted to take in a lot of situations, and it's frustrating, but that's all part of the thing.
Sure.
And I could go on about this forever. I'll mention 2 things. One, there's a big political aspect to the game, specifically if they didn't pick a cop just because it's a way into a mystery and a story
or a murder mystery, right?
They picked a cop because they want you to think about the way that cops interact with people.
Okay,
there's a game. There's 2 games actually. There's This Is the Police 1 and 2, which are games that are very critical of the police and the way that you interact with citizenry and the way they interact with you. And the game and your voices are very honest with you about how, like, you're a cop. They have to do this. Or, like, go ask that person something. What are they going to do? Say no to a cop? And so the way that you play a cop can be, it doesn't necessarily, I don't know. I think you can unconsciously reveal things about how you see the constabulary and their responsibility to people, which is pretty effing important right now.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is.
And it's also, I think it's a socialist and communist game too, as well.
Oh, okay.
But it isn't cheating and making the socialists heroes. The town that you're in, there is a conflict between the union and the company that owns this dock. It's a shipping yard, basically.
Sure.
And you think, well, the union guys are the heroes. They're defending themselves. The corporation sucks. But you go to the corporate lady and, she has interest in her company, but she's like nice and she helps you get a lot of your information, back about the world.
Sure.
You go to the union boss is just openly corrupt. And then the union workers, the dock workers, probably committed this murder that you're trying to solve.
Okay.
And they're a gang, basically. And so the game is asking you constantly, like, whether you support their cause, or they just want a handout, or whatever it is. And I think there's a right answer, but it doesn't show its cards. It lets you decide. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say is it's got the world building of a Planescape Torment. It is, you are a human being with pants, and it's, you are recognizable as a person.
Yeah. But
it takes place in a completely different world that's not, I don't want to say it's like space, but it's not Earth, or it's an alternate Earth. And so there are countries, and they talk about wars and monarchs, and they have also developed capitalism, communism, all these things, but it is not Earth. And
it's not our world.
Yeah, and I would call it junky steampunk. It's not
junky steampunk?
Yeah, it's not.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it's not brass and top hats necessarily, but everything has a more chunkier, less iPod streamlined feel to its technology. Taking a picture with a camera is a really complicated process where you have to sprinkle something on a thing, and then you use a tube that's full of powder it's just, I don't know, it's strange. And like the cars are electric, but they have like a coil in them that does something. And then, like I said, like you learn about the history of the region, and it's all just made up. Somebody just sat down and just made a bunch of stuff up.
Wow.
And I would totally read a book about this, but I won't have to because they're making a TV show out of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you told me that. Tell me more about, what do you know about the TV show?
I don't really know anything about the TV show.
Okay.
I know that, it's on PC right now, the game. You can also get it on Mac, and it's coming out soon on consoles. But I think they didn't quite know how successful it was going to be.
So when did the game initially come out?
October 2019.
Oh wow! So really recently. Yes. So they initially just did it on computers.
Yeah.
But it is gonna get a wider release. Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty popular. Yes. Then it sounds like.
Yep. And apparently there is a. I don't know if it's not the same story, but it's in the same universe. There is a book called Sacred and Terrible Air from an Estonian writer. It's an Estonian game.
Right.
Good luck finding this book. It's not
really?
like super widely published. But I don't know if they know the guy, but they sort of borrowed this setting. So when I talk about how great the setting is, it's probably Robert Kurvitz, the author behind the book.
Interesting.
So I don't know if the TV show is going to be based on that. The people who produced the Sonic the Hedgehog movie are working on the show. I don't think they have a deal yet, but yeah, we'll see.
I mean,
I don't know. How could this make it to the screen intact? Do you know what I mean? TV is about
it'd be hard.
LCD, and I'm not talking about the screen. I'm talking about the lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that a bloated, alcoholic, amnesiac detective actually be a great role for Orson Welles. right around Touch of Evil.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to get those hophead biker gangs, and Charlton Heston's a Mexican.
Yeah.
And having all these leftist leanings and thoughts, and there's no way that's going to make it to Hulu, right? There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
it'll be interesting.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, I enjoyed the Sonic movie more than I anticipated.
Well, Sonic is
I mean, and
Sonic's
that's
blue.
A video game.
That's the start. We're getting into Sonic to go a little more left of that.
Right. Yeah.
And be the color of a rose.
So I think from what you said, it's really refreshing that to play, just my opinion, to be able to play a video game where you're not like the chosen one or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that doesn't happen that often. You know, and like you're not that special and you're just another guy.
Yeah, you are not special at all.
That's
in this game.
That's kind of really cool. I don't know why there aren't more games like that. Maybe from a design perspective it makes things a little bit more complicated, but I think it makes the world more interesting in a way, and like how you interact with it and everything. Sure. It's really what you make of it, which it'll be interesting to see how that will and I hope that they find some way to translate that to the TV show.
I don't know how they possibly could.
I don't know.
And
but
after what we're going to talk about today, I'm not bullish on any kind of adaptation.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. We're talking about things on the Just Enough Trope podcast, I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Yukon Hana.
And we are speaking about all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That is what it is.
And we're here to talk about some nerdy things today.
Yes,
we just did. We just did. I recommend this game. Although, actually, I'd like to see how it plays out on PlayStation. You could probably do that, right?
What do you mean?
This is a point and clicker.
Uh-huh.
But, I've got some other problems with it. But Divinity Original Sin, I feel like, has mostly solved the point and click problem.
For the most part.
On console. So, anyway.
That part of the problem.
Maybe wait on console. I think things have been delayed because of COVID, but I'm sure it'll come out this year. Anyway, forget about that. We're going to talk about the nerd news today, and then we're going to talk about a new show that seems like a brand new property, but it's not.
Not until you do some digging, yeah.
And digging. Or just live my life.
Well, okay.
And I'll tell you,
maybe that wasn't fair.
It's not. But we'll be talking about the new Netflix show Warrior Nun and what it's based on, the comic book Warrior Nun Areala.
Yes.
Which I gave a pass to in 1994 when I went to the comic shop.
Yep.
Because I saw a nun whose nipples were protruding through her
habit?
Serge habit?
Yeah.
What are habits made out of?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I've got no clue.
They're thick, right?
They seem like they're thick.
Because you don't want nipples to come through them, right?
Well, I mean, I assume
so
that
like
most
a
nuns
surge.
wear a bra, but
or a twill or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
It's not like cotton or anything like that.
No, I mean, no, I don't think nuns wear a bra because I think it's immaterial.
Yeah,
or it's supposed to be.
Right.
Maybe that's what they're going off of.
No.
Anyway, that and the fact that the warrior nun's name was Areala, which sounded a little bit too much like areola to me.
Probably not on purpose.
I'm gonna give it a pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah?
We'll save that. That's a tease.
Okay.
Now that I've read the comic, I don't know. Talk about that a little later.
Yes.
And when we do that, we'll talk about bad girls.
Yeah.
Talking about sad girls.
What?
Or angry. They're all angry girls.
Yeah. Bad girls are usually angry girls. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
More
talk
so
about
than
it.
sad. Yeah.
How are you? You bad, sad, mad?
No. I don't know. I'm fine. It's hot. It's really uncomfortable.
There's no way around that.
Happy 4th of July, I guess.
Not really.
Not really?
No, I think we're all kind of taking a break from 4th of July, aren't we?
Yeah. Did you, by any chance, see the video of all the fireworks in LA?
I heard about
yesterday?
I heard about it, yeah.
Oh my God! You have to check out this video. There is a.
I don't want to.
I
don't care.
There is a pan of the city, and it's just fireworks. It's insane.
Yeah.
And the newscasters don't really know what to. They're like, I can't believe people are doing this, and like you could be fined like $50,000.
Well,
and it's like,
the mayor said don't do fireworks.
Yeah, but they've said that everywhere, and I don't know. I just the tenacity. I don't know. Like why?
I can't figure out if you enjoyed what you saw or you didn't like it.
I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I'm just amazed that
Did you
many
start this with no end in mind?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why so many people decided to set fireworks off. I guess that's what took me aback.
This was communities that did this. Like, it wasn't just, Uncle Randy coming back from
it was organized.
Vegas with a bunch of fireworks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it's LA, right? But like Sherman Oaks,
right?
That's incorporated, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works. But
I don't know.
A lot of those suburbs or whatever you want to call them were like, no, we're going to do fireworks. So they did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not going to fine all those people, so.
No, it's a senior skip day.
Yeah, right.
That's what you do.
Right.
Did you senior skip day?
I never did, and I kind of.
Such a wuss. I
know. I kind of wish I had.
You're listening to a podcast hosted by two goody two-shoes.
You never did either?
No, but here's the deal. And we've talked about this on the show, but we've been on for like 7 years. So here it is again. I was in so many programs and I volunteered for so many things that I spent a lot of time, especially like my junior and senior year. I was in class like maybe 50% of the time. Oh. And then the other 50% I was off doing other things.
Okay. All right.
And
sure. So you were at school, but you were doing other stuff.
Not always at school.
Oh, really?
You know, we would leave campus for, I did like community education classes at one point, and I don't know why. It's probably just to run out some grant money. But at one point, we were approached by the city to form a group, to form a council or something like that.
Okay.
Of high school students and young people it was called like the Community Action Panel or something like that.
Okay.
It was not group. It was not a very good initialism, but and the idea was that we were just looking for projects to keep ourselves busy, to try to get other people involved for community improvement.
Okay.
Great idea.
It sounds like a good
Taught
idea.
me a lot about bureaucary and city government.
Okay.
But all we did was we basically the mall in town. And it was a tiny, I have a small town, and it was just like a tiny strip mall.
Sure.
Offered us an office, like a location where we would actually have an office where we could go. And it was formerly a hair salon and had been for like 20 years.
Weird.
So to get it ready, we had to clean it out.
Oh, you had to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
We had to rip, the sinks off the wall. There was, 20 years of hair in some places that we had to take up.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
We had to, we installed like a drop ceiling and stuff like that. And
Did you guys know how to do that? Did you have anybody show you how to do any of that stuff?
I knew how to do that.
Huh?
I knew how to do that.
Okay, all right.
One of the girls' dads came in and helped us out too.
Okay, all right.
And we got it all done. It was all spick and span. We painted it white. It was ready to go. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, actually, I can't offer this to you. I got a tenant coming in." And it's like, oh, okay, so you just exploited us for labor. And after that, the community action panel sort of started to wane because we were just like,
wow.
Well, we're just going to get taken advantage of by local business people, which again,
that's
a lesson
horrible.
in city politics.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's really crappy.
So yeah, a lot of time doing that and not sitting in trigonometry or whatever it was. So I never needed a senior skip day. I could get out of class just about any time I wanted.
Wow. Like, I mean, you usually had things that you were going to do, but if you wanted to, you could have been like, "Oh, I gotta go work on the office," do like that.
But I wouldn't do that.
Oh, I know you wouldn't, because you were a good kid, good student, so you wouldn't do that.
I was an okay student.
Okay, what? But you were a good kid. You wouldn't have done that because that would have been wrong.
Yeah. While we're confessing things, because there's not a lot of news this week. You know what Mortal Monday is?
No, I've got no idea.
Mortal Monday. I really want to hear your guesses, but we'll move ahead. Mortal Monday was the date of the home release of Mortal Kombat on home consoles. It was 1992 or 1993.
Okay.
I think it was 1993, although I can't be sure. But it was on a Monday. It was advertised as Mortal Monday.
Okay.
We were all excited about it. We all loved Mortal Kombat. Everybody did.
Yeah, sure.
And a friend of mine got his hands on Mortal Kombat, or I can't remember what it was. But anyway, the point is that I can't remember how we did it, but we left school. We got out of school on Mortal Monday.
Okay.
We got the game, and we just played the game.
Wow.
The rest of the day.
Okay, sure.
And I can't remember. I can't remember what the excuse was. Now that I think about it, but I remember playing Mortal, and we put the blood code in right away. You gotta.
Yeah.
And we're playing Mortal Kombat, and I remember the sun, the low angle, early morning. Or late morning, early afternoon sun coming through the window of my friend's room and thinking I'd never seen that before on a weekday. And it was glorious. Let's talk about the news. Well, you ready for this week's memorial section? In memoriam? R.I.P.
Never really ready, but let's
all the time.
Let's do it.
Every single show.
I know.
We lost a comedy legend. just on June 29th last week.
Yes.
Carl Reiner died at the age of 98, just 1,902 years short of 2,000. Which, you know,
it's a good run. You know,
when you're Paul McCartney and you go, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? That's betting low, right? That's betting low.
It is betting low.
But when you write a sketch called The 2,000-Year-Old Man, you know, he's swinging for the fences.
He is. Yeah, absolutely.
He's doing everything that he can. Of course, he appeared in films and TV and wrote, for Sid Caesar on Your Show of Shows. He was on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Sure.
As Alan, can't remember Alan's last name. Brady.
Okay.
You don't hear that name on TV very often, so I understand. In between sitcoms and football, it's not out there. So
right. You
imagine that I would forget. And just, stayed active for a long time. Of course, he's the father of Rob Reiner, who followed in his footsteps.
Yes.
And was great friends with Mel Brooks and Dick Van Dyke and just on and on and on and on. Knew everybody. He's done everything, been everywhere. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is sad.
I just don't know what else to say.
Was he friends with Dick Van Dyke before he was on the Dick Van Dyke Show? Do you know? That's just a random question. I was just curious. I got no idea, but
should I answer?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, clearly, they worked together on the show for a long time.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, you could work with somebody, say, Sterling Hayden and Joan Cooper, be like, well, that's not going to happen again.
Right.
Or you could work with somebody on a show and, like the Scrubs guys. Aren't they so cute? They're still friends.
All right. Okay, all right. There's like you're saying.
They always defend each other over accusations of blackface. But let's not soil Carl Reiner's in memoriam segment.
Oh my gosh, yes, let's not.
He's married to the same woman for, let's just say they got married in 1943.
It's a long time. It's a long time.
They were married, sorry, Mom and Dad. They were married longer than my parents were alive.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the math is kind of fungible. She died in 2008, but,
Right.
He didn't get a new girlfriend, so
right.
Still married.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, yeah. It's impressive.
It is
kid
impressive.
From the Bronx.
Yeah. I haven't really watched that much Dick Van Dyke Show, to be completely honest. But
just come in.
What?
Like a wrecking ball, but like one with an unhappy face painted on it, and just go, let me tell you, I haven't really watched any of this, so...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it.
He was a Jewish kid from the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
His father was a watchmaker.
Okay.
It's like a watchman or something like that. Remember Watchmen?
Yeah.
No, not Lube Man. I mean, how Dr. Manhattan's father was a watchmaker. This is all...
Wow. I need to reread
I want to get more
Watchmen.
honest with the audience about how this show works. See how I'm just holding all this up? Do you want to say anything? Or because if you don't, then let's just move on. I will I am a machine that just makes words. And those words could be good and those words could be bad. You have to twist the dials. But if your hands are in your pockets and nobody's twisting the dials, we're going to end up talking about making watches and Watchmen.
I don't know.
Who got the watch at the end?
All right. I think doing watch work is really intricate stuff.
All right. Well, that's the wrong dial, but
okay.
So I don't know what to tell you. It's just sad.
It is
sad. Drink a glass of V8, both in his memory, Mel Brooks, but also to just keep yourself going. Come on.
Yeah. Right.
Because Mel Brooks is about the same age.
I think he just had his birthday. I think they, somebody mentioned recently Mel Brooks just had his birthday.
Yeah, actually his birthday is June 28th, so it was, what did they do for his birthday party?
Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, he can't have a big party right now.
Okay, so.
What are you saying?
So Carl Reiner died on the 29th, and Mel's party was on the 28th, so I was doing a joke where I was proposing like a Hangover Zero type situation where something crazy happened. And then, those movies from the mid 2000s where a bachelor party would kill a stripper and then they've got to like hide the body.
Yeah.
It's like a couple of those.
Yeah.
And then we did the feminist flip, and now the women are like killing male strippers. And why do these movies exist at all?
That's a fantastic question. I don't have the answer to that.
I'm just going to drag you all the way through
who
this
is
show.
it for?
Just by the long rope, you're coming through this show.
Hey.
Something about the two, lifelong friends, of course, and since their wives are dead, and Bancroft died in 2005. For the last years of their lives, they just every night they would just come. One of them would come over to somebody's house. They'd order in food, and they just watch old movies and tell jokes. And I can't remember who it was. It's probably Jerry Seinfeld or something gross like that. But somebody had some video of this, just like hanging in with these guys. Of them
just hanging out.
And they're just, cracking jokes at each other, and they're doing stuff. And it's just like, that's a sitcom right there.
That is so incredibly sweet.
Mel needs to sell that.
Yeah, right? That would be amazing. And I don't know, it's really touching to, that a friendship can last that long. And
Sunshine Boys, the Twilight years.
Sure, right.
But like funnier than that.
Right.
Better than that. Not this.
It's a jumping off point.
Well, speaking of things in the Twilight years, Curb Your Enthusiasm is renewed for the 11th season. HBO, 11 seasons.
Okay, I mean, I know it took a break for a while, right? Like, did it take another... I'm...
Let it die.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Not excited about this, huh?
Let it die.
Why do we need an 11th season?
I mean, Ted Danson... Oh, not anymore. I guess he needs to work now again.
Wow. What were you going to say?
Speaking of Friends, everything is just going to... We're going to leave every thought half finished because we can't complete any thoughts tonight.
Okay.
Is he really friends with Larry David?
I don't know. I guess
They're friends on the show.
Yeah.
And I know that you can just run into somebody at Gelson's or something and just, make a friendship out of it,
sure.
I guess. But, I was looking at their IMDb's. They've never done anything together. Yeah. Ted Danson might have been on Fridays, like way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the one season. Well, let's see. It was like 89, right? 88, 89 when Larry David was writing for SNL. So maybe... Cheers was, maybe Ted Danson hosted SNL.
Sure. I don't think he was on Seinfeld.
But it's just like, you know how it is. Like, Hollywood is just like community theater with a lot more money and a lot more driving.
Yeah, right.
And so, you could be friends with anybody, but you're going to meet friends on sets. You're going to meet, you're going to be back to the JB and what's his name?
Donald
Scrubs situation.
Right. Yeah.
What are you laughing?
The Scrubs situation. I don't know. That just kind of tickles me. That you call it that. That's all.
I don't know what else to call it. It feels like a condition to me. It feels like a real something that needs to be treated.
Wow. Like people liking Scrubs or the
existence of it.
Oh wow. That you feel that strongly about it, huh? Why are you glaring at me?
One of us. So sometimes I think I'm too rough on movies and TV shows, entertainment,
sure,
content.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and I'm like, I exist because there has to be somebody to balance out someone like you.
Well, I think that's a little harsh. First of all,
we're going in waves. Remember, we almost canceled the show in like April. And then we got kind of better, and now it's back to, I can't stand your face.
Hey!
Right?
I think it's, okay, like, I have become, since I've met you, I've become... the
destroyer of this show?
...more critical of entertainment, specifically TV and film, than I was previously. And, I think more about what I consume and if I like it or not and why I like it or not than I did previously.
And yet you watch Sabrina on Netflix.
Hey, back off.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay. I mean, all I was going to say is I watched Scrubs when it was on and I really liked it.
I'd like to defend that choice.
And, well, I really liked it while it was on. Now, having a more critical mindset, I don't know if I would enjoy it as much.
I watch The Office religiously, now I know that John Krasinski is like a huge like turd, and
because he sold some great news.
Okay, if you want to do a show on who's a turd, we can do a show on who's a turd, and I'll bring the stuff, but I don't have my attaché with me tonight.
Whoa, there's more than that.
But I mean, that should tell you something, isn't it?
Like I know that's not great. Yeah.
It's hard to hide when you need to make the money and the deal is public. Then you can't do something shitty and nobody knows about it.
So there's been other things.
A lot of crew anecdotes about him being a shithead, but doesn't matter.
Okay.
Seth Rogen is going to do a CG movie reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yawn.
Okay. Why?
Yeah. Well, because it's a property that just... Was it the Toys That Made Us? That was... The sound I was making was a heart.
It was a heart,
doing
yeah.
CPR. Nobody can see it.
Yeah.
Was it Toys That Made Us where we saw like the first on-screen reunion between Eastman and Laird over Ninja Turtles?
Did they actually...
And they played it up like, oh, this is great. But I'm sure as soon as the cameras were off, they're like, screw you, asshole.
I can't remember now if they actually were in the same... They were, weren't they?
And they explained the deal that, like, didn't one of them go, you just do whatever you want with it? It's like, okay. And then he started making a ton of money, and everyone's like, oh.
Yes, that absolutely did happen. And that is... that I like the Toys That Made Us, and that is a particularly...
I don't.
You don't?
It's so overproduced.
I mean, it is, I guess.
But they do...
But that's an interesting story.
But that's only one aspect of it.
Yeah.
I do like their research, because you learn
They do
things...
a lot.
It would be easy to just go, Sanrio has many Hello Kitty characters, but instead they go out and get the lady who made Hello Kitty, who's still around today, and is probably 100 times more weird than she was when she created Hello Kitty.
Probably.
And that's I like the depth.
Yes.
But I just don't like the jokes that are kind of lame and
okay.
Whatever.
All right.
So that happened. Theaters are still struggling, of course, with
movie
the whole
theaters.
thing. Yeah, movie theaters. And Cinemark theaters are requiring that they are going to make their guests wear face masks. They are another chain to fall in line behind people like AMC, Regal. I wouldn't call Draft House a major chain, but they're a part of that too, of course. So that seems to be the way forward right now.
I just thought of something regarding that, just listening. So what I've read, it sounds like that movie theaters are still planning on selling concessions, so you have to wear a mask unless you are eating.
Well, all those kids will have gloves on and masks and face shields, and
right.
So
that's
I'll take a hot
concern.
dog from them. I don't care.
Sure, that's not my concern. What I'm wondering is, once you're done eating, how do they enforce that you put a mask back on? Because they can't can they come over to you?
They're not going to enforce it anyway. I mean, technically, I think in our city, we have an ordinance from the mayor that says you have to wear a mask.
Yes, we do.
And everywhere you go, indoors, nobody's wearing masks.
Right.
And all the businesses are like, we're finally getting money again. We're not going to tell people to wear masks. I wonder how much a business fine would be for not doing that.
Probably.
My gym's going to find out soon.
Yeah.
You're on notice.
Right.
Let's move on. Hey, did you know that Christopher Nolan doesn't let you have a chair on his movie sets?
I'm sorry. What?
In an interview with somebody, let's say GQ. She's always in GQ for some reason.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't GQ like dudes, like handsome dudes with watches?
Well, it's geared towards men.
Right, but it's not Maxim. Maybe it was to compete with like lads mags.
It's not Maxim.
But the last time Anne Hathaway was in GQ, she was like in a bustier, like on the cover. Well, anyway, she's back. Still don't know if it's GQ, but we're going to roll with it. And in an interview, she said that Christopher Nolan does not allow chairs on his sets because if you are sitting, you're not working.
Does he get to sit?
Great question. But he's a workaholic, so I think it's one of those I don't do it, you don't do it type things.
I think that's a little extreme for a lot of different reasons. What if somebody, like, are there any exceptions to his little rule? Like, what if somebody
I don't
has, like, some sort of health condition or needs to take frequent breaks or, for whatever reason?
I don't think anybody cares about that in Hollywood.
I guess not. But
fun
I mean,
fact,
that's really
the scene
sucks for the
after
actors.
Rachel dies in The Dark Knight and Bruce is, cradling the Batman helmet, as he's sitting down, wasn't actually sitting. Christian Bale trained for 8 weeks to be able to hold a pose, a yogi pose, so that Alfred could go, oh, here's your letter, sir. No, he doesn't give her the letter. He said, oh, it's nothing, sir.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not that good. Come on.
So wait.
Well, do I need to smile more?
No. So like.
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
Clearly that's not true. And I'm trying to confess and you don't even know I'm confessing. This rope, it's cutting my hands. I'm going to mention
so
this
gullible.
fast, and it's we should have been talking about this the entire time. We got more to get to, so I'm going to blow through it. Doesn't mean that it's unimportant, but the Motion Picture Academy recently added almost 1,000 more people to their voting rolls, and it was basically a chance to. It was their attempt to contradict or combat the Oscars so white stereotype, and so Awkwafina, Ari Aster. Others, women and minorities have been added to the Academy and hence the Oscar voting rolls in droves.
I think that is a fantastic move and should have been done a long time ago, is what I think.
Me too. Let's move on.
Okay.
Sorry, that's,
Wow.
Beavis and Butthead is set to reboot at Comedy Central with Mike Judge.
No. I mean, why?
I admit, MST3King music videos, like, you have to explain to kids what music videos are in the first place.
Are they even going to have real music videos? I know,
they're on YouTube and everybody makes a video. But I'm just saying, like, that sort of hangout, like, frog baseball aesthetic will have to be updated. But it's Mike Judge. He'll figure something out.
Okay, I mean, I like Beavis and Butthead. It was fun when it was on. I think...
Say one thing that they say.
I am Cornholio. I need TV
that's
for
from
my
the
bunghole.
movie, and everybody remembers.
Whatever, I know it. Shut up. Hey, Beavis. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
It sounds like somebody wants to get Beavis in a van with no windows. Hey, I got all kinds of videos in here. They suck.
All right,
get on in.
I guess I just think of it, when I think of it, it's so quintessentially 90s. So I mean,
how much you want to talk about Warrior Nun? Because
I know.
We're way out of time.
I know. Okay. All right.
Well, I want to see what he does. Okay. And who cares? Like, right?
Yeah.
TV is cheap, as we'll find out when we talk about Warrior Nun. But also, animation is cheaper, and so nobody really cares. And so it's a chance for a guy who has not only succeeded in live action TV, but has also made a ton of, like, funny animated shows to revisit one of his things. And I'd like to see what he does.
Okay. I'm open to it.
Did you hear about how shitty Joss Whedon is?
I did.
So this really blew
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. That's not funny.
Oh, you haven't heard the story. You're just reacting to the real world and history. Ray Fisher, the guy behind Cyborg, had some pointed tweets to make recently about his time on the set of Justice League. Mm-hmm. He said that Joss Whedon was, quote, abusive and unprofessional on the set.
Yes.
How do we not have any video of this guy just slapping like a page to the ground? Because that's what everybody says. Now, I know that he is. I'm not forgiving it, but I'm just saying, you can watch Dan Harmon do a baby dance and go, well, I can see this guy yelling at somebody because Britta's costume wasn't right or something. But sex is different. You know what I mean? Like when no one else is around and all the cameras and everything are off, and then you're like, sexually harassing your one of the writers in your show because you think you're in love with them. Mm-hmm. That horrible, but different than his public behavior. But like if Mel Gibson is already super intense, and if he's drunk and gets arrested and goes on of course he's going to go on a tirade against the Jews or whatever.
Right. Joss
Whedon just seems like a guy that I'm sure that he, will yell at you if you're not in the right place on your set, but he's just like casually mean and unprofessional. Like, what's he even doing?
I mean, I guess
this was not a great time for him. I know that.
Yeah.
Actually, there aren't no good times for him anymore. The good times are over for him.
Right. What's the actor's name again? Fisher?
Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher. He didn't really go into details, and that's fine. I don't.
No, it's not.
Oh, you want him to go into details?
Okay.
I mean,
I want to open up a line of inquiry where we say, because
what did you mean?
No, where we say, what's Ray Fisher know? I'm not defending Joss Whedon. I want us to think about what's happening here. because Ray Fisher has never been on a movie before. This is his first movie.
That's
so
true.
if somebody yells at him, maybe he thinks that's unprofessional. And as somebody who has both acted and directed, you got to yell at people. You just have to yell at people sometimes.
Right.
And also, Ray Fisher is real blowjobby towards Zack Snyder because he gave him his first opportunity.
Yeah.
Anybody could have been that. One of a dozen other, young black actors could have been Cyborg, and he picked him.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're talking about the Snyder Cut, now that we're talking about, this huge deal on HBO to get all the movies on there and stuff like that, what a great time for Ray Fisher to stand for Zack Snyder by pulling Joss Whedon down.
But why? If you want to promote Zack Snyder, then why would you have to diss Joss Whedon? I wouldn't think that.
Because these people are mean and I don't know anything about. Look, I don't know anything about Ray Fisher. I really don't know anything about Joss Whedon.
No, wasn't there something like Joss Whedon?
Stop and just comment on everything.
Wow, I'm sorry. Didn't his
the biggest stories are yet to come?
Ex-wife say that he
yeah. That's we started this story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have the information, so you can't talk anymore. We got to move on. But I started that story with the foreknowledge of we knew that he is incredibly emotionally abusive.
Yes.
That's why I told the story about Dan Harmon.
Right.
But not Dan Harmon's behavior on the set necessarily, but apparently very unprofessional on the set. Well, speaking of people from the set of Justice League, I can do it for anything. Jason Momoa is in talks to play Frosty the Snowman in a movie for Warner Brothers. Who knew that Warner Brothers owned Frosty the Snowman still?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird. Because Jason Momoa is he's a cool dude, right? So he's a cool guy, so he's gonna play a snowman?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, he seems happy. I don't know. Is he jolly? I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Why would he? I mean, a role is a role is a role. But
put the hat on him. Malakaliki maka.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Why would he want to take this?
He's gonna be a cool surfing Frosty the Snowman.
Right. He's gonna wear a Hawaiian shirt, and he's yeah, it's ironic. I don't know. It's
that's happening. that bingo square is full. Zachary Levi is gonna be in a movie about Kurt Warner called American Underdog. Nobody cares. And as far as telling on yourself, American Underdog, I was American Underdog. Now, Kurt Warner is a Christian, right?
I've got no idea.
American Underdog. That sounds pretty good. I looked it up. It's a brother team that's producing the film.
Okay.
Everything else they produced before this was God called me on the phone. It's
okay.
They make Christian movies.
Okay.
And Zachary Levi is nominally a Christian.
Okay. I know nothing about Kurt Warner.
You don't want to say bad about anybody ever, so we can't bag on Christians. Moving on.
I don't know.
Fill your ears, listeners. You might not have this in the future.
Hey. I don't know. I mean, I don't really enjoy Christian specific.
What about Assassination
films.
33 AD though?
I didn't see that. You saw that. But I mean, they're for somebody, and some people
Christians
really
can't make drama because everybody has to. It's all super happy ending. Everybody has to be. I say saved, saved, but I just mean saved from the peril at the end.
Right.
There can't be any tragedy. There can't be any character suffering abuse or suffering hardship and growing from it. They just pray and then God fixes the problem.
Everything gets better.
And then they're I'm so glad that happened, Kirk Cameron. And then they just move on. Also, there's a real dearth of talent in all above and below the line.
Yeah.
So I'm not prejudiced. They're just not good.
Right.
Speaking of not good, that's not true. Phil Lord and Chris Miller are making more episodes of Clone High. So speaking of Jesus, he got my letter. I have been begging for this for almost 20 years.
It's been that long already. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
In 1999, right?
Yeah.
It's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
This is insane. Lord and Miller are so popular still
that
absolutely.
they
could make poop the podcast or poop the podcast. So hold on, write that down. They could make anything and people would want to watch it.
Yeah.
And so it will succeed for that. But no one's going to remember Clone High. Nobody does remember. I'm the only person I thought I dreamed it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so why? Like, I'm getting exactly what I want, and I'm asking, why are you doing this?
Well,
plus you can't. I don't think you can do it. Like it was. I'm not saying they did anything mean spirited, but it was provocative.
Mm-mm.
Like I can't be sure that somebody didn't wear blackface, but it was a show that really, there were no sacred cows on that show.
Right.
Gandhi was a party animal. That right there probably led to the death of the first iteration of the show. There was no international market because there's all these people. Like, you couldn't sell it in India.
Well, I mean, that's true. And I could see a lot of people, being offended by that depiction.
And Ponce de Leon was killed by litter.
Oh my God. But I think what I take from this is that Lord and Miller really enjoyed
they
that
always
property.
wanted to do this again?
I think maybe they've kind of had this in their back pocket for a while.
God, I wish I'd seen their solo.
Yeah. Instead of
because except for, and I think that they were just nominally involved with Into the Spider-Verse, right?
I have no idea how involved they were.
Because I hated that movie. It's very boring. There's no way that they wrote that movie, but I like everything they do.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think we could really be friends. Do they need a third? What about Lloyd, Miller, and Caliban? I think there's something there. But anyway, I love the fact, because I've got, the Clone High DVDs, and I usually watch it probably once a year. And I just can't. I've just always dreamed of this, and it turns out they were dreaming of it too the whole time.
That's what I think.
I just think is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
So I don't know. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Put that along with Beavis and Butthead, I guess, as we just continue to crawl up our own asses in terms of rebooting things. But
yeah, well,
I'll take it. Speaking of unoriginal things,
oh boy,
for anything I can do it.
Yes.
The creators of Westworld.
Yep.
Their names are.
Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy.
That's right. They're going to do a Fallout series with Amazon. Fallout based on Fallout, the video game. A game famous for having no story. It's just something different all the time.
Worried.
There is no lore.
Well,
there's, mutants and Brotherhood of Steel.
Here's the one thing. As far as I know, from what I've read, they are only going to be the producers on this show. That might change. That could change. But right now, I'm wondering how much influence they have. I mean, obviously, producers have influence, and they, you see their influence in the work. But I guess I'm wondering how much, of their, story, world building will be in this. Yeah, exactly.
Their jam hands.
Because I gotta tell you,
hands.
I mean, and I think we've talked about this on the show before.
They're not very good.
I did not enjoy Westworld season 3.
Not very good. They're way too good looking to be good writers. Do you know what I mean? I don't know where they started. It was either, performing, or one of them has a very famous, successful brother.
Yeah.
That I guess he wrote some of the screenplays or helped on the screenplays.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, they either started as actors or they were, good-looking, producers who were like, oh, let's write something. Mm-hmm. Right? There's no way. They're way too good-looking to be good writers. Look at James Toback. Well, don't, because he's canceled. But look at that creep.
Yeah, well, I can't pull up in my mind what he looks like right now. But
plus, it's all about the experience. Is all about what's happening to you. You are the wanderer of the wasteland.
Yeah,
you are the vault boy. You are the survivor.
Sure.
So I can't wait till in the first episode we meet Jim, the vault boy. Like giving the vault boy a personality.
Oh,
I should say it's nothing vault boy because the vault boy is a cartoon character. I just mean the survivor or whatever they call it. I can't remember what they call it. You in the game.
Yes.
Giving that person a personality. That's not. You could have picked anything.
Yeah.
It's like doing a Half-Life game and having Gordon Freeman talk, or doing a Half-Life game and having it be about Barney because everybody likes Barney.
Do you think that this is just something, this is a property that should not be made into TV or film because it just doesn't translate?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, and like you said, there's not really much of a roadmap to go off of because it's a post-apocalyptic world. And
satirical.
Yeah, right.
So like take early 90s satire now. That holds up. Mike Judge is crying somewhere. That really holds up. And we'll see what we do.
Right.
People remember the 50s? People love like 50s kitsch.
Yep.
In 1989 when the game entered development.
Yeah.
We tolerated it in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And it's still around.
Right. There's going to be a lot of that.
Aren't they supposed to be working on William Gibson's show on Amazon?
Yes.
Now what? Is that dead?
No. Like I said, right now they're only supposed to be producers on Fallout. So I think they're going to be devoting more time to the William Gibson show.
No, I want them to devote more time to Fallout.
Yeah, okay, I mean, that makes sense.
That means that, like, something good can grow when they're not around.
Yeah.
Their shadow isn't blocking the sun.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Funny, upbeat joke to end this segment.
It's been 7 hours and 50 days.
I bet you never heard of Antarctic Press.
I never have. No.
Most people haven't, and I'm positive that you haven't heard of a guy named Ben Dunn.
Nope.
Although, that's a pretty cool name. Right?
Yeah, although now that I actually sit and think about it, yeah.
But people are going to be just like, oh, it's Ben Dunn. It's like, I got this great idea. Ninjas in a high school. People are like, it's Ben Dunn. Oh, it's Ben Dunn again. That's what we're going to run into. No, it's a guy named Ben Dunn. He basically, he's Taiwanese.
Okay.
And he came over here as a young boy, grew up in Kentucky and Texas in the South.
Okay.
And graduated from, this is going to blow you away, a Catholic high school. And it was in Taiwan, this is interesting, in Taiwan, he was exposed to Japanese manga.
Okay, sure.
So I don't know if you can get manga on mainland China in, this would be like the 70s.
Oh, that's I have no idea.
But
I don't know.
That's the benefit of being a republic, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Because in Taiwan you can.
Yeah.
For now. And so, yeah, so he developed a love of manga, began writing and drawing his own stuff with a real manga edge and style to it. And I don't know what else he was doing, but in 1984, he founded Antarctic Press, basically his chance to develop and publish Amera manga.
Oh, okay.
This is still sometimes a thing, but, in the late 80s, early 90s, America was like, we can do this.
Yeah, right.
And there were a lot of titles that were sort of manga-influenced or manga-esque. And some of them were books from Antarctic Press, like Warrior Nun Areala and Ninja High School.
Yes.
Then later in the early 2000s, when Marvel was just flailing about like an overdosing girlfriend, he was asked to launch their Marvel Mangaverse.
Really?
So Marvel produced a bunch of manga titles in manga style, starring their famous characters.
Okay.
And that didn't run very long because it's not a good idea.
Oh,
but he was people knew him. He was chosen to do it.
Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, if you're known for doing something, I mean, it's good to be recognized by somebody like Marvel and to be brought on to do a project like that.
Yeah.
And I can understand why Marvel would want to go that route, seeing how popular manga was at the time.
Yeah.
So, we're comics, we should get a piece of that pie. So, I understand.
Yeah, a lot of great ideas at that time.
Well,
Bill Jemas. Look it up. In 2016, he teamed up with country singer Art Greenhaw to create a faith-based line of visual novels and comics.
Okay.
This is the thing about most Catholics. It's like a boomerang, right?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I wonder what Sinead O'Connor's up to. She's probably shriving because you fly out, but you come back. And so they're publishing a comic through Antarctic, which is still running.
Oh, Okay.
Or at least was as of 2 years ago, called God's Silver Soldiers.
Okay.
Sounds like Warrior Nun to me.
Yeah, right.
With some backup stories like Tales of Nazareth, The Boyhood of Jesus.
Wow.
Now, you laugh, but I remember when I was a kid, my parents made the biggest mistake of all in terms of keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Okay.
And that was buying me something called the Picture Bible.
Okay.
And I want to track down and find the guy or team of people who drew the Picture Bible, because it was taking all the highlights, the compilation album from the Bible.
Sure.
And illustrating it in comic book form, basically. All packed together in a Bible, same size, same thickness.
Okay.
And it was Bible stories.
But it was like comics.
And... I mean, like that, forget Spider-Man, screw Batman. Like that got me into comics.
Okay.
About as much as anything else did.
Okay. Do you feel like it helped you become more familiar with Bible stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, yeah. I was pretty suffused in it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Suffused means kind of submerged.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it seems like
Uh-oh.
It's a good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to try to
Hook?
make it a little more exciting, or
Here comes the airplane.
You know what I mean?
Meow.
Wow.
It's the Bible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the comic Warrior Nun Areala.
Yeah.
We read
Where do we start?
I believe the first, instance or the first appearance of Warrior Nun Areala was this 3-issue miniseries from Antarctic Press, written and drawn by Ben Dunn himself. 3 issues introducing the world of Warrior Nun Areala.
Yes. I think so. I read he did the letters in the front, right? He wrote this.
Yeah, there's a letter column in the front, which is that's hubris.
Well, I think he wanted to get it going. I don't know why he decided to put it in the front, but that's what he did. But he, in one of them, he mentioned that he kind of, when he was doing Ninja High School.
I can't believe you read
I read one of them.
Letters.
I've read at least one of them. When he was writing Ninja High School, there was a character that he created. It was it was a priest character who was a fighter, maybe similar to the priest that we actually see. I don't know I'm that much about it, but that particular character piqued his interest, and he started thinking about what kind of world would this character come from, and that's how he created this world.
He was watching Friends, and he was thinking, Jennifer Aniston in Antarctica, we've got it.
What?
Friends fans will understand that joke.
Okay, all right.
You tell us what? I'll take this one. You do the TV show. No, I'll do the TV show. I'm doing the TV show.
All right.
What happens in Warrior Nun Areala?
Okay, so there is this group of warrior nuns who train to fight, and defeat, kill, what have you, demons, and other horrible, nasty things that come from hell, whatever that might be. I think they're all mostly demons. And maybe humans who help the demons. And the protagonist, the main character, you might think her name is Areala, but it's actually, it kind of becomes Areala later, but her name, we're introduced to her, her name is Shannon. And she...
you have notes.
Yeah, I took notes on names just to kind of help me. But... So basically, she has completed her training and she gets her first mission, and it happens to be in America, in particular in New York City. And she doesn't really know what's going to happen there or what to anticipate. And she kind of, people are, when she, they're telling her, oh, we haven't had that much demon activity, recently, so it's probably not going to be very exciting for you, blah, blah, blah. And that's the priest who, is showing her around, tells her that too. And then they run into like one of the first demons or whatever, and he's like, what? And he was like, how did you get in here? And like, and so she has to fight this thing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Did this happen in the comic? I read this. I don't remember any of this.
Didn't it happen in the comic?
It didn't. It did. Why don't we just...
Wow.
I can't trust you to do anything.
What?
She works for a secret ninja force of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
For warrior nuns.
Yes.
In a cyberpunk world. And
as
the 3 issues unfold, we learn about the world. They're fighting hell, obviously.
Yes.
But even hell itself is not a monolithic force. There
right.
are factions who are warring in hell. And Lucifer is, not in charge because he's imprisoned. I guess we're doing a little Dante here, too.
Yeah.
And so they are all warring over control over hell. But Areala doesn't care about that. She's just there to kick the butts of demons. The end.
Okay. All right. That was a lot easier than what I was
doing.
doing. Sorry.
I kind of joked before that, maybe I would have read this at the time had I given it a chance. Mm-hmm. And I would agree with myself. I think that might be true.
Yeah.
This would have been right up my alley. As religious as I am, I don't really know a lot about the Catholic Church, but
sure.
Does anybody who's not a Catholic? Do you know what I mean? Like it's a costume. Fair. You can be a sexy nun for Halloween.
Yeah.
It's just another realm, world, costume milieu you can set a story in.
Sure.
And so that would have been fine, but it's just got, you'd think like, oh, nuns, they're fighting demons, probably with swords, right?
Yeah.
But there's just so much more here. And you see, and he wasn't exactly young. He was like in his 40s when he made this.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know how old he is.
Can't remember when he was born.
Okay.
But you see the influences of so many different... He's in his 30s. You see the influences of so many different movies and things that he's like... I mean, you could say stealing, but he's like influenced by... there are ninja nuns, basically, but there's also like magic priests and we didn't
who can fly.
Well, we didn't read far enough into it to understand what a magic priest is, but it seems like maybe it's a priest who is dabbling in the dark arts in the defense of the white arts. Do you know what I mean? Which that's interesting to me,
right?
It's very and I think Rob Schraub beat him to this with Scud, but like it's very cyberpunky, and it's very cyberpunky. but like like let's run this spell through the computer. This computer is going to cast a spell. Like why does it all have to be a dead man's hand and like a brindled calf and stuff like that when it could just be boot up the Spellmaster 2000. We have worlds to lay waste to. That sort of thing. It's just like this mishmash of elements that is unsophisticated. It is the work of a young hand and a young mind. But it's exactly what I would have made if I had made a comic book at this time.
Sure, yeah.
Like I feel like I probably could have rooted for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's back. I mean, mostly because of the Netflix show.
Oh, okay.
A Warrior Nun series started late last year.
Oh.
It's not written or drawn by him, I don't think.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But they are trying to bring this back.
Is it on Antarctic Press, do you know?
It must be, right?
I would think.
Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I just I think that I would have liked something that was sort of garbagey like this. And I mean garbage, just like the fact that everything's in there. A shepherd's pie, if you will.
Sure.
What'd you think?
That's a better way of putting it.
What do you think about Virgin Kick?
Virgin Kick. Well, I read that and I just, it was like shake my head, Well,
I thought, she has like a Sailor Moon transformation because she's wearing a regular habit.
Yeah.
Then she's like, Hail Mary, full of grace.
Yeah, right.
And then like suddenly, oh, there's the nipples and her thing, her apparently like shirt disappears.
Yeah, right.
And then like her habit gets like slits come up the sides.
Yeah.
To her thighs.
So much cleavage and like just like fabric just tying together over her cleavage. And
I'd watch that transition.
Wow.
If the Netflix show doesn't do that.
I don't think it's going to. I really don't for a lot of reasons.
All right, speed it up.
But I don't know. Like, so I thought I wasn't really like into. I like that this is this is a book from the 90s that has almost all of the main characters are female.
Yeah.
And I really really like that, and they're powerful, and they're kicking butt.
This is where we talk about bad girls.
Well, maybe let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
But so I really really like that aspect of it. And so I think that that's really cool. Maybe this is just my taste. Maybe I'm a bit of a prude. Don't totally love all of the super revealing costumes that a lot of the said female characters are wearing. But I don't know. I mean, it was kind of... I think you're probably trying to sell this to a lot of boys.
I think it was what was happening back then.
Yeah.
I think if you set... Especially a guy that maybe older than... Maybe should know better, but a guy who is sitting down and going, I'm going to design some characters because I love these comics, these mangas. That's just what you would do.
Mean,
you wouldn't have somebody in sensible culottes going out to fight the devil.
Yeah, and I guess I can see that. I mean, I love manga and anime. I mean, there's some that I like, some series that I like more than others. But yeah, you definitely, the revealing clothing is a thing. You know what I mean? But I didn't totally love that aspect of it. The virgin kick thing, it's funny. I kind of wish there was almost more of that.
Well, it's very anime / manga. She's shouting out, rosary,
what she's gonna
attack.
Do. Yeah, right. That was no, that's true.
It should be in Latin though. She's like e pluribus unum.
Yeah, good point. I didn't even think about that.
I guess this is Vatican II. She's Vatican II.
Right.
On Warrior Nun. That's it's pretty funny. That's probably gonna be the title of the episode. Sorry, continue.
I did like to so another character we haven't talked about yet is Shotgun Mary, who apparently was a warrior nun, but she from what we read when we read I think the first 3 issues, it sounded like she fell in love with somebody, and I feel like that's what she was saying. But she also said she didn't agree with a lot of the methods, a lot of the rules, she kind of wanted to do it her own way, like kick demons' butts her own way. So she wasn't a warrior nun anymore, but she still kicked a lot of butt. And, she rides around on a motorcycle. She's...
Barbed wire.
What was that? Barbed wire?
There's a Dark Horse character called Barbed Wire who wears a bustier, has blonde hair, rides a motorcycle, and was played by Pam Anderson in the ill-fated Casablanca remake, Barbed Wire, from 1995, maybe 6. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to ease us into bad girls.
Oh, okay. I see. So I really like that, and she's going around, like, I don't know how she finds out about this stuff, but she's got her ear to the ground, I guess, and she hears whispers or things, but she's, like, investigating and figuring this stuff out on her own and, like, kind of doing stuff on her own, but she also kind of, like, reports back to the warrior nuns and, like, the priest who she, like, was working under.
She's the cool
a little bit
rebel.
Yeah.
Whereas Shannon is Captain America. She's the Bucky.
Yeah, right,
Mary?
right.
Who the hell is Mary? Yeah, I like I said, I like everything that this guy likes. So I'm not sure if it's good, but I really wish I had given... my life would be totally different, I guess, if I had given this a try. He kind of tells on himself at the beginning of the 3rd issue where he quotes Ezekiel 25:17.
Okay.
I'll strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who would attempt to destroy my brothers. And you will know I am the Lord. I'll stop when you show recognition.
Oh,
when I lay my vengeance upon thee. It's... Wow. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay. All right. Right. Wow. Sorry.
What's the opposite of pop culture? And can you give me a show about it right now? We need another addition to the popped culture. Cut this part out. We need to use this for something. So it's like I don't know. You say, is he doing this? Is his tongue in his cheek? And you go, it must be. He's doing this. But a guy making this in, and these didn't come out contiguously, obviously. So, he this came out in like the mid 1995. No. He is totally 100% serious about this and his Pulp Fiction quote, just like I would have been. So it's an interesting artifact. It's an interesting frozen in time artifact of comics at this time. And it's also, it gets really chaotic. His art's not bad. He works really hard, and I really like a lot of it. But it's, a mess near the end. But I think that this ultimately is a really, I don't know. I just think it's a really nice amuse-bouche for, and there's another, a couple years later, there's an ongoing series, which I'm not going to read now. It's too late.
Oh,
but, but I think that, I really like the glimpse of the world here. Now, he got in trouble with everybody. You want to know why? Catholics didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because of the nipples. But not atheists didn't like it because ultimately it's pro-Catholic Church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are literally defending
positive.
the world.
Yeah.
We learn that there is a heaven and a hell. Whether or not, shocking Mary, whatever or not people are like actually keeping their vows, they are working to save the world and make it better. And a lot of people don't want to see the church portrayed that way because of all the bad things the Catholic Church does. So this appeals to no one. And honestly, I'm kind of amazed they'd bother to make a TV show about it called Warrior Nun that's currently on Netflix.
Yeah.
All right. Since I finished the other one, what's Warrior Nun about?
So Warrior Nun is very different from the comic. And I guess the one major similarity, besides there being warrior nuns and some of the characters' names are the same, is it's
Is it a sequel? Is it a
maybe
sequel?
it is. Maybe it is.
Not a spoiler. First scene.
Yeah.
The Warrior Nun squad is coming into a church. This is in Mallorca, I believe. Spain?
I know it's in Spain. I didn't catch where exactly.
I believe it's in Mallorca.
Okay.
And their leader is hurt. She's fatally wounded. Mm-hmm. Her name is Shannon.
Yeah, right.
And she has
I hadn't thought about that
person,
being...
Her second in command is named Shotgun Mary.
Yes.
So is this a sequel series? Did they say, we don't want to do... we have to put our jam hands on it and screw it up. We need to make it our own. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a thing where we'll honor what came before, but we'll introduce our own. I don't know what's going on here, and I got a lot of quips, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
I mean, yes and no, because another character that was in the comics who is in this is Lilith. And in the comics, she's a demoness who's got wings and, she's really cool looking and she kicks butt.
I don't know any of their names. Is Lilith the mean nun?
She's the one who's supposed to get the halo.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. So that...
Why would you name a nun Lilith? That doesn't work at all. Wow.
I agree with you completely, but...
How about Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, right.
Check this out. We forgot to talk about bad girls. So, in the 90s, and really right around 1993... a trend in comics started called Bad Girls. And it began because for years and years, going back until, Vargas and Pinup Girls, there was good girl art. Good girl art was, cheesecake stuff, right?
Sure.
Pinup stuff.
Yeah.
And that had been around for a long time, especially in the pulp novels and pulp magazines of the late 40s, 50s. She was taken by a cult and a man with no shirt had to punch them to save her, that sort of thing. But it got flipped on its head in the 90s when there's this female empowerment in comics.
Yes.
Here are the quotes.
Uh-huh.
And that female empowerment was sparked off by people like Brian Pulido, Billy Tucci, Rob Liefeld.
Oh boy.
Now don't assume gender, but what do these names sound like?
They're male names.
These names sound like guys?
Yes, they're guys.
Yeah. So characters like Lady Death, Dawn, Angela, created by Neil Gaiman, She, like SHI, like death in Japanese.
Okay.
Evangeline. These characters were all women. They were all grimacing and definitely had a sword. sometimes a gun. Girls with Guns is another subgenre of this.
Oh, okay.
And they were definitely showing enough lower abdomen to know that there are no home waxing kits available in their comic universes. Like, they're all sold out.
Yeah, right.
So it was like girls showing skin, getting the job done. And it even infected mainstream titles. This is when Jim Balent, oh my God, speaking of people who, he should be a character that works for hell in Warrior Nun.
Okay.
But, when he took over and rebooted Catwoman, Catwoman became a bad girl.
Is that when her suit somehow got even tighter? And
it was just flesh, purple-colored flesh, yeah.
Yeah, and like protruding nipples and everything.
Well, I don't think it ever got away with nipples.
Oh,
but,
okay. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
So the whole like guns and pouches thing, moved over to women and femme fatales in comics.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Areala fits perfectly into that. Although, remember, this is also a guy who is literally taking his first steps into comics. And so he's just doing what he sees,
Yeah. I guess, so I have just one...
I'd love to answer it, and we'll get back to Warrior Nun.
Well, I have one small critique of the comic.
Okay.
Before we move on. So something happens, there's a battle, and she wakes up, and one of her arms is a cybernetic arm.
Yeah, she had a robot arm, yeah.
And then we have this huge fight scene. In 2 panels of the scene, he didn't draw the cybernetic arm.
Yep.
I was so confused. I had to go back and look at it again.
Are you sure it wasn't when she had the god armor on? Maybe that restores your
No,
your
I'm sure. Because so one panel she had like brown gloves on and like so it was like a brown glove. But at the other panel you could like see both of her hands, like her flesh.
Yeah.
So anyways,
he's his own editor too.
I know. Okay. All right. So I guess going back to
Warrior Nun,
the TV show.
It's in Spain.
And basically at the beginning of the show, Shannon is going to die. She is fatally wounded, and she's like, it's okay. She has Shotgun Mary and Lilith. I think Lilith was there, maybe not. I don't know. She has a couple other warrior nuns with her, and she's like, it's all right. And they know what to do. And there's something glowing in her back, and they're going to take it out. And it is a halo.
An angel's halo.
Yes. And once it's taken out, she's going to die. And the nurse, the doctor, whatever the nun is who's operating on her, she's trying to put it in the next person, and then they get attacked.
There's a dead girl in their morgue or wherever their medical room in their secret base. That dead girl's name is
Ava,
and she is from.
Do they talk about where she's from? The United States somewhere, I think. And
Portuguese actress, but clearly has a command of English.
Yes.
Yeah, she's supposed to be American, but that's not the point. For 12 years, she's been from
wherever this is taking place in Spain.
Okay, look. Once again, tap tap, get up. I'll do it. Ava, a dead young woman.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't know how old she is. Let's just say 18. Who has spent the last 12 years in a convalescent home in this town in Spain because she was in a car accident 12 years ago with her mother.
Yes.
The car accident killed her mother and robbed her of all sensation. She is a quadriplegic.
Yes.
Who just lived in this thing, I guess.
Orphanage,
And the lady in the orphanage who runs it is a sister, not of secret police or whatever.
No,
but
she's a nun, yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't like her. Doesn't matter. They brought her to this church, and we don't really know why. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that maybe God has a plan for her. Mm-hmm. Because when a demon attacks this church, or actually, no, not just yet, no demon. A squad of commandos attacks this church. Mm-hmm. The nurse, I can't remember all the nun names, so let's just say the nun who is taking care of everybody has to hide this halo. She puts it in the body of Ava. Ava comes back to life and wiggles her big toe, the bride style.
Right.
Finds out that she is alive. Mm-hmm. And not only she's alive, she has superpowers.
Yeah.
Super strength. She has a limited invulnerability. She can heal fast.
She can phase
and she
through
can pass
things.
through walls.
Yeah.
And so she runs out on her own, looking for freedom and enjoying the ability to walk for the first time in 12 years, and immediately runs smack dab into another hat. And in this case, the hat that we're going to put on top of this hat is a group of 20-something international criminals.
Right.
Who are looking to steal something, money, wallets, something from a company called Something Tech.
I think it's
ArcTech. At ArcTech, we find out that the people that run ArcTech are trying to develop portals and free energy based on holy relics that they find.
Yes.
Holy relics are used by the church to defend the earth, but they do have special powers. Mm-hmm. There's a metal called divinium.
I think that's correct.
It has special powers.
Yes.
And there's a conflict between the church in the form of Cardinal Bing Bong. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name
and
either.
the guy who used to work for the Vatican, but now runs ArcTech.
Yes.
And he says that science and religion are the same thing. And the Cardinal's like, I don't know about that, brother. And then back at the training facility, which is a big cathedral in Spain.
Yes.
The nuns are training, and we meet all the nuns. Eventually, they get a hold of Ava and take her and tell her about the destiny of the halo inside of her, a halo that was originally possessed by Areala, a crusader and fighter from beginning. Oh, when we talked about the comic, we didn't talk about the weird little detail that it takes place in 1066 because he read a history book. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Mm-hmm. And Areala, the original Areala, who lived in 1066, was powered by a Valkyrie. It was a Valkyrie.
Yes.
Bone, honest to goodness. So not only is like God and the devil real, but like the Norse gods are real.
Right.
Who
works for Odin.
Renounced, the Norse gods.
Yes.
And then like powered up Areala. And so Areala, doesn't, we don't see in the comic, she met her fate maybe, or maybe she just ascended to heaven. We don't know. But over the generations, she imbues a warrior nun with her power. And in this generation, she's chosen Shannon to take that power. Now, in the show, to maybe clarify that or give us stakes, they've made it, this halo that was bestowed upon Areala was the first time that she died.
Yes, by an angel.
Angel with a dumb name, and I can't remember, but
I can't remember either.
Abiel or something like that. It's like, well, we'll just say Gabriel then, I guess, right?
Right.
Came down and imbued her with this. He gave her his halo and his weapons, and so she was able to continue to holy fight.
Yes.
And so this halo, and presumably other halos, I guess, are passed down from warrior to warrior over the generations.
Yeah. And
so a lot of people aren't very happy that Ava has this halo in her because she don't know nothing. And she got a mouth on her.
And she's not religious.
And she's not really coordinated or good at anything.
Right.
She's a real Bella.
Yes. That's true.
Did I nail it?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You totally did.
Yeah. Did you like this show? You did. I know you did. You and your Sabrina fandom.
Wow.
And you found another Sabrina, didn't you? I could feel it. I know you liked this.
I wanted to like it more. I think it has.
That's fine.
I think it has a lot of potential.
Didn't we ask? Sorry to. This will go into what you whether you liked it or not. But were we asking ourselves why this?
Yes.
And why now?
Yeah.
Why would you take a somewhat exploitative, definitely pulpy character from the mid-90s and do it in 2020? And I hope Ben Dunn got paid off of this. I didn't see his name in the credits, but it must have been there. I'm sure. I'm hoping he got paid. Why would you do this now? And I think what we came up with was, why would you do a supernatural-related female-led show that's LGBTQ friendly?
Yeah,
and has girls kicking ass?
Yeah.
Do you want to ask that question again, or do you want to just shut up?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really valid point, and I think that shows like this are very popular right now, and that they're seeing that there really is an audience for stuff like this, which I think is great. I would like to see more. Well, let me just preface it this way. I would like to see more TV shows, more movies that are female focused or have female leads at kicking butt. And
that's how we got Bad Girls.
I know, but I don't. This is complicated because like it's a strong female character I feel like is so loaded. You know what I mean? And like, I want there to be more substance to that. And I think that this show is trying to offer that, but because she's flawed and she, you know, she's not perfect and she doesn't feel like she's the chosen one. Like, I know that the priest guy thinks that she might be, like, because, like, God gave you a second chance, that sort of thing. But
I would posit that we are currently in, and maybe it started a while ago, but we're currently in the cinematic era of bad girls.
Okay.
You'll get something like Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
Which everyone praised for being female-led and
yeah.
she's kicking ass, but she's still she brings home the bacon, fries it up in a pan. I don't know. A movie directed by one of the guys that directed John Wick. I almost called him Jonathan Wick, so formal. And written by Kurt Johnstad, who wrote the 300 sequel, you know, and also works with Zack Snyder a lot.
Okay.
So it's like, let's see. Macho creator creates a woman that's kicking butt and is like, you know, like,
yeah, I know.
That's not female led.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like it's female fronted.
Right.
That I think we're in that time right now, aren't we?
Let's see some female
like
creators working on stuff like this.
Sure, and I loved Fury Road, but you know it was also, and they did everything they could to try to put women at the forefront of that story.
Yeah, and
but
I loved it too.
Still a guy writing it.
No, you're absolutely right.
So I feel like we're in that time now.
I think you have a valid point.
Yeah.
As far as that goes,
I know.
So I liked. So I think this is, although obviously related and tied to the comic, and well, maybe at least tangentially.
Inspired by.
Inspired by. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. It's very different, but I do like. I'm intrigued by this world. I like the idea of the halo. I like the idea that it gives her superpowers and stuff like that. I like the overall concept. And then also it's complicated by like she hasn't been able to move her arms or her legs in like 12 years.
She's got great muscle tone for that being true.
I know. And she just hasn't, there's so much she hasn't experienced.
Maybe they've got a great like therapy program and
right.
at the thing that she was at. Totally random fact. This was co-produced by David Hayter. You don't know who David Hayter is, but he is a actor, voice actor, producer, and sometime director. And if you hear him say Metal Gear, you'll know exactly who it is. He is the original voice actor behind Solid Snake.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's so random.
So yeah, I don't know. Hey, good for you. Kiefer Sutherland stole your job, so now you're going to produce and get more money than you ever made.
Yeah, do it.
Hein D. Yeah.
Why did Kiefer Sutherland get the job? Like, why didn't they keep having him do it?
We do a whole show on that.
Okay. That being said, I think that you and I have talked about this. The pacing on this show is not great.
Well, we often talk about pacing when we're talking about it being like swinging wildly and like with no thought to moments that like Iron Fist has no pacing. Like we have 3 talking scenes in a row. Yeah. Then there's a fight maybe, or he's in a mental hospital, and now 2 episodes he's just lazing around in a mental hospital and he's waiting for something to happen, and he punches a hole in the wall finally or something like that. I think this is perfectly paced for a 2-hour movie. Unfortunately, it's a 10-hour series, and so you get a lot of things where you get a scene that. So there's this. We only watched 3 episodes, and I'm glad we did, because it wasn't until the 3rd episode that they lay out. We really discover what the show is about.
Yes.
And they give you the backstory on Areala. It's it's somewhat similar to the comic. You understand, okay, that's the inspiration. Because at that point, she's not a nun. It has nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. The halo is a new touch. I mean, we didn't read on in Areala. Maybe they introduced that. But so it's like, oh, this is all whole cloth. But then we hit this episode, which, speaking of pacing, is like, here's what we're going to do for this episode. She's going to read this old text. It's going to give us all the flashbacks, and we'll never read that text again. That's what this episode was for.
Yeah,
this was the info dump episode.
Yeah, yes.
Number 3. But in number 3, we have a thing where Lilith, who doesn't like her, takes her to a room to train her. And she does this deal where she pretends that demons are attacking, to see what Ava will do.
Yeah.
There's so many names. I was going to call her Shannon. I was going to call her Ariella. And she freaks out and she uses her shadow cat ability to like run through the wall, but she gets stuck.
Yeah.
And there's another Mother Superior character.
Yes.
Who doesn't like her for the reasons. She didn't train for this. She's too old to begin the Jedi training. Like she's
not
up
for this. She's not religious. She's not worthy.
And so she basically is just like, help yourself. Oh, you think you don't understand. You don't get what's at stake here, that sort of thing. Then the nice guy priest, who we'll never talk about him again, so I'll get this out of the way. He's terrible. He's not a good actor, and I'm not trying to be like culturist or racist, but I couldn't understand what he was saying half the time.
I had trouble understanding him too, so I feel better you saying that.
Well, we can be racist together. And so he comes in and he's like, hey, outside now, to the Mother Superior. And I'm like, we're going to have to suffer through a scene with them, aren't we? So then the nice nun, the very young nice nun, is like, oh, it's okay,
it's okay. It's all right.
It's okay, Ava. Then we cut outside to a scene between the nice priest and the mean Mother Superior. Guess what that scene is about? I don't like her. Yeah. You should give her a chance. She hasn't earned this. We knew all that before we went outside.
Yes.
And these 3 episodes are full of scenes like that.
I know.
I bet this was a movie treatment that couldn't get sold as a movie. And then Netflix was like, sure. And they went,
it kind of feels that way.
Write some extra scenes. And then now it's a 10 episode. And this is telling too. I hate when streaming shows go, maybe whatever it wants. And they have like an hour and a half episodes. That's not how you do it.
No.
But the episodes of this are like 40 minutes, which is like, we don't have enough material to fill here.
Right. I think, so if what you're proposing is true, like if they were like, it's going to be a movie, and then they're like, oh, let's make it a TV series instead. They decided to spread everything out, but it doesn't feel like they really thought about like what comes in at what point with the TV show. And the reason I'm saying that is it takes forever for her to find out what is going on. And it's not that the first 2 episodes were uninteresting. I'm not saying that. But this is supposed to be about Warrior Nun.
Yeah. But it's not. It's like teen drama. It had a very teen drama feel to me. About a girl who falls in with, international European criminals. Who
I don't know if they do anything besides
are also sensitive and fun,
right?
But how do they?
And they take drugs, but
they
they hack into like rich people's accounts somehow, figured out when they're on vacation, and like they're gonna stay at their house.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
During that, all they do is just laze around this giant house, and have fun. And if you're gonna spend, they're not an hour, but like an hour doing that until we move to the next part where she is sort of absconded by the warrior nuns to learn her true nature.
Yeah.
You could do it. Do a little heist that goes wrong. Do a thing where they're doing a heist, but have her, save them or something. They're like, you know what, she's okay. Instead of but you could have done anything with that. But instead, it's just her. People talking. They're just talking. They do one thing where they go to a party and she sees, these wraith demons that are also part of the mythology. And it doesn't, so many of the things, something would happen in the scene goes on way too long. Then something happens and you go, what's that going to lead to? Cut to the next day.
Yes.
What was the show that we watched recently that was like that? It's like, oh, I can't wait to see where this goes. And it was like, next day. And you're like, what? That's a huge yada, yada, yada. There was something going on there, right?
Wow. Let's not
waste time trying to figure it out.
I can't think of it right now. Yeah, it was weird. And then there was like, I think it was in the second episode where there's the big party dinner thing at whatever it's called, Arctech. And Shotgun Mary, which we learn, that's her name in this. Mary is Shotgun Mary. She shows up there.
Okay, I know what you're doing.
And we see her, park her bike, and she says something to the guard who's eyeing it, and she's like, whatever.
Don't even look at it.
Right. Yeah. And I liked her. I thought
they were the valet guys.
Yes.
Because they're like doing it. She's like, don't even look at it.
Yeah. I like this character.
She was the best part.
I liked the actress. That was great. But it was weird how they plotted everything out and the way that they showed it to us, because then we go back to the party and the cardinal guy is talking to the guy who used to be with the church, and then we get like an entire presentation by the head of the company about like, now I can create portals or something like that.
Yep.
This entire time, Mary has not arrived at the party. No. We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
They have an entire conversation and so much time has passed. Then later we see Mary arrive at the party, and the guy who used to work for the church, who now works for Arctech,
is talking to the mercenary who was in charge of the mercenaries, who they fought the night before,
who killed Shannon.
Well, it resulted in Shannon's death, although he wasn't
right.
necessarily totally guilty of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And she's walking in, and and I don't want a show to talk down to me, but she pauses by the door. Then we have this like 3 or 4 minute scene between these two guys.
Yes.
And then she walks past, and you're like, well, shouldn't she have heard that?
Yeah.
Now, it turns out she did hear that, because she kidnaps the leader of the mercenaries and talks to him in the next episode. But it doesn't give you any indication that that's true.
No.
And these are all, the bike, all that stuff is filmed separately. You could literally drop that in wherever you wanted to.
Yes.
But it doesn't, yeah. There's also, what was it? Oh, man, there was one continuity thing that I had a real question about.
Okay.
But there's a thing that you pointed out, which was the whole third episode, the good guy priest is making her read the history of Areala to have her understand like what's at stake and her legacy.
Yes.
And he says that there is so it's all in Spanish or maybe Latin in this big book he gives her. But there's also a translation, and it seems like the translation is in the book. Like it's,
I swear he pointed at the book.
Yeah,
the
like
first
there's
scene
two,
where it happens.
two different, on either page or whatever. Yeah. But in the last scene where she finally finishes the story, she's in front of the book, but she's holding up a piece of A4 paper.
Yes.
And you're like, where did that come from? And I'm like, maybe it's the script? But it wasn't like a framing situation where maybe she was just reading that off of a script page and then it would be cut out. And what it turns out is that right after they finish the story and you think, okay, maybe she gets it. He goes to talk to somebody. He's like, oh, so we did something. And he turns around and Ava has fled. And she's written on the back of this piece of paper, I want to live. Basically like, great story, but I'm going to die if a demon's coming after me, so I got to go. And like, that's all well and good, but you introduced this piece of paper at the very end of this just so she could write on it, I want to live.
Yeah.
And it just...
why would she be reading the story off of it? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she could just grab a Post-it note off of the desk.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, these are little things.
Yes.
Here's my final verdict.
Okay.
Thumb in the middle.
Okay.
I know you're going to keep watching this. And if it gets good, let me know and I'll jump back in. Because I am intrigued. I think there are enough elements, and I think it's made well enough. And I think it's interesting, too, that like almost all the cast is it's Spanish or Portuguese. And there are a couple, the scientist lady is Dutch. Like it's a very international cast, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
But if these weird bad pacing things and weird decisions and just kind of lack of forward momentum continue, I don't have any interest in it.
I understand.
What do you think about the main girl?
I liked her. I thought she was good.
I hate the VO.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the VO.
I have not seen the Twilight movies. Does Bella talk to herself in her head?
I can't remember.
That's okay. Because when I hear VO, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And so far, no good reasons. A woman who was paralyzed for a long time and now can walk is not going to talk out loud. And so maybe we want to get her feelings about it. And that makes sense, I think. But later on, it's just a lot of Bella-esque things where she's like, oh boy, look at this girl. Some nun's yelling at her. And the nun's like, don't you know that this is the Dewey Decimal System or whatever? And she's like, I bet it is. Oh no, did I say that out loud?
Yeah,
she did that a couple times in 3 episodes.
That's true.
Like,
that doesn't need to continue. Yeah, I think they are trying to be cute.
I got Emilia Clarke's little sister.
Emilia Clarke's little sister.
Half Daenerys Targaryen.
Uh-huh.
Half Jennifer Lawrence with just a dusting of Carey Mulligan. That's what I got.
Oh, for the actress? Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
And that ain't good. All 3 of those things.
They're not
make
great
me
actors.
Want to live?
Yeah.
and flee.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, I think I liked the actress who was Shotgun Mary more.
She was good,
but
I like the fact. And again, we didn't read forward into more source material, but I like the fact that the demon is called a Tarrasque, which definitely translates to something in Latin. But the Tarrasque is famous as the worst monster in D&D. It has like 255. It has the maximum amount of hit dice.
Okay.
It is as big as 4 city blocks, and it takes like a week to kill. if you want to like attack and destroy it, and so.
Okay.
Ben Dunn. It's literally Ben Dunn. He's such a nerd that like I can imagine him puting that in his book.
I could see that too.
I'm not sure how a Netflix show would have got there without help from the book.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really any. From what we read from the source material, there's not necessarily a connection to D&D specifically.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think the little boy is going to be like the little boy in the comic?
Oh, maybe.
In that, because again, we didn't read forward, so maybe the little boy is a main character. I don't know, but she sees a little boy who looks too similar to the little boy from
Diego,
the orphanage,
who is her friend in the orphanage. Yeah,
who is being held in this facility. Do we think we'll find out that he is being experimented on, and I don't know if he has a chip in him, but he somehow is going to facilitate their use of portals. Which portals in hell? Are we doing Doom? What's going on here?
Yeah, right. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Especially since it's in the source material. So it would almost be like, why else is he there? They're obviously doing some sort of experiment on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's locked up. I don't think she's... I mean, I guess the only other option is that he's some sort of demon. You know what I mean? Cool. Because
demon boy,
right? Because she can see demons.
Shark girl.
But other than that, I don't think that she's hallucinating. You know what I mean? So
there's some great writing in this. There's some more bad writing in this, and sometimes they take place in the same scene. There's a thing where we get the only interesting thing that the nice guy priest ever did was he is really. He's striving with himself over this situation where they're under attack, they've lost this halo, and they have to go get this girl. And if the girl doesn't cooperate, they have to take the halo from her.
And she might die.
And they're going to kill somebody, basically.
Yeah.
And so he goes to a bar and he orders a drink. But he says it's to look at. And so you go, oh, there's a little backstory for this guy. Interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then the bartender goes, priest, I'm a bartender. We got the same job. We both listen. I'm like, stop. Oh, you put a lampshade on and you ruined it. Like,
right.
That's not a terrible... It's been done. It's not a terrible comparison to make, but they just ram it home to make sure that you get it.
And I don't think that they necessarily needed to do that. I think they could have written it in such a way, you
and there's no
like
reaction.
Something is weighing on you.
There's no reaction.
Like
what if he
something?
Was really... This is where you cast a good character actor and you really push it like he's, hey, Mr. Padre, I've been a bartender for 25 years. I've seen everybody come in here. One time a guy came in, he was getting divorced, and he walked out and he renewed his vows or whatever. I can take whatever you've got. And he's like, all right, as he plays with the drink with the ice in it. What if I told you that demons were real and they could cut you open and they want to come through portals and destroy everything? And you come into the guy and the guy's like, Okay, finish up your drink. Like get out. Just do. But
that would have been so much.
But the
better,
show's not
what you
interested in that.
suggested.
I don't think the show really gets humor because the girl
I don't think
is
it
a
really
motor
does.
mouth and we're just throwing everything on the wall, and her little puns and things don't really stick. And at one point, the nice, the nice young nun is talking because.
I don't remember all the nuns' names.
Mean
either.
Mother Superior has bollocked out Ava, and then
Yes.
the nice young nun is like, "Don't worry about it. Nobody really likes her.
I know what you're
We
gonna
call
say,
her
too.
Corella de Jesus."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "That's first of all, she doesn't have a coat made of dog fur. That was already a pun. Corella devil,
Yes.
a cruel devil.
Yes.
All you did was just break up and ruin the pun
Yes.
by doing that.
Yeah.
Think of something else.
Right.
That wasn't good.
No.
So, yeah, you let me know if this is any good
Okay.
going forward or not.
All right.
Recommend?
Fair. I would recommend it.
Of course you would.
I know. I'm intrigued to see where it will go. I will definitely let you know if it gets any better. I have to say, going back to Sabrina, I think I like Sabrina more than this, but I'm going to double down.
Hey, they both
Sabrina.
have a sexy Latinx love interest.
Yeah. That is true. So yeah.
A sexy Latinx, and this is progress. A sexy Latinx love interest is the new sexy blonde Chad Surfer dude love interest, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Or a Jake Ryan type.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
it's
16 Candles?
Yeah,
Jake
yeah. I can see it.
A guy who would go, "Hey, you want to rape this girl? Go ahead."
That movie's got problems, man.
It certainly does. So anyway, that's it. That is Warrior Nun, Areala the comic, and Warrior Nun the Netflix series.
Yes.
6 Hail Marys and work on your jokes. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. Gosh, one day we're going to get back down to an hour.
That would be great.
Anytime soon?
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon either, but we can do our best. But let's not think about that too much. In the meantime, you can find us on social media. You can find us at Just Enough Trope in any old place that you're looking for us. Look for Just Enough Trope, Facebook, Twitter, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Also, we're on all the streaming services. And we say this every time, but we really do mean it. If you are on a streaming service that accepts reviews and ratings,
Yes.
please give them to us.
Yes, please.
Let me be your dog. Just give us a rating.
Yeah.
Take 2 seconds.
Yes.
How about this? We'll call you out in the show. 5 stars?
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
In the rating.
Yes.
Good. Just say we're good.
We say we're good.
That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
But we need ratings.
Yes.
We need to let people know that we have a real complicated but sometimes entertaining show here.
Yes, absolutely.
And to that end, please give us 5 soccer jerseys. She gets blown through a wall.
Yeah.
In a scene that I do not understand what's happening. She gets hit by a truck, thrown through a wall, and she passes through the wall. But
Yes.
show the wall, right? She gets hit by a truck, chaotic. Then
Yeah.
you cut to the inside of a sporting goods shop.
Yeah.
Quick establishing shot, cut to the corner, watch her pass the effect that she's swirly and she comes through the wall.
Yeah.
Then take out a line of sporting goods. I thought that she busted through the wall and like bricks and plaster, were like flying. It wasn't. It was just
It wasn't very
cleat
clear.
shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then later on, she's like, I can pass through walls. I'm like, anybody can pass through walls if they're hit by a truck. I didn't really get what was going on.
Yeah, right.
But she has Shadow Cat powers. We eventually figure it out.
Right.
But that's fine. Whatever. But be clear. Give us
Yes.
5 stars. That's how you can be clear that you approve of this monster, this rough beast that slouches toward Bethlehem. We'll be back in the future, next week, in fact, to talk about something else. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.